Check this clip out from Greg Locke. He's a televangelist, megachurch pastor, decided to dip his toes in politics. Give this a listen.
People say things like this. Well, you know, Pastor Locke, Global Vision, why do y'all got to make such a fuss about morality? Why do y'all got to make such a fuss about the debacle of the nonsense of a grown man beating a grown woman at the Olympics and getting a medal out of it? Why do y'all got to make a fuss?
That didn't happen. Oh my God.
Why do y'all gotta make a fuss about abortion? Why do y'all gotta make such a fuss about, transgender bathrooms at Target? Why do y'all all...
That was his first big viral video. He was complaining about trans bathrooms at Target. Like, what? Like that even exists. Are you talking about like the unisex bathroom? You know, the one that like disabled people use? Is that what you're complaining about right now? It is so stupid that it's wrapped back around to be comical now. And why are you complaining about abortion? Notice how in the beginning, listen one more time to this short segment here.
About morality. Why do y'all got to make...
Why are you complaining about morality? You catch that?
Global Vision. Why do y'all got to make such a fuss about morality?
You're not complaining about morality is the issue. Nobody is asking you why you care so much about morality. Nobody would ever care about that. You're a church. That's kind of what churches claim. You know, they're moral, whatever. You're not being moral when you attack somebody for who they are. You're not being moral when you say, I don't want gay people to get married because they're not equal to me. You're not being moral when you try to take birth control away legally. Try to make it illegal to use birth control. That's not moral. That's you being a scumbag and pushing in on people's rights that you have no right to push in on. You know, your right to swing your fist ends at the tip of my nose. Swing it anywhere you want except for right here. Your rights extend up to where my rights begin and no further. But he doesn't get that concept. He doesn't understand. He thinks he has the right to trample over everyone else's rights, but you don't have the right to do that to him. It's not a double-edged sword to him. It's a single-edged sword, and he's on the edge. Or he is the edge.
Why do y'all got to make such a fuss about the debacle of the nonsense of a grown man beating a grown woman at the Olympics and getting a medal out of it?
You know what's really sad about this? Richard Dawkins claimed the same thing. There was an Algerian boxer in women's Olympics that was boxing somebody from Italy, maybe? I don't remember. Anyway, the other person, not the Algerian, whoever was fighting the Algerian said they've never been hit so hard in their life. And the right just ran with it, claimed that the women's Olympics is like being infiltrated by like trans people and stuff. It's just not true, any of it. Richard Dawkins is on my side, almost, for everything. It's so disappointing to see him say crazy, unhinged stuff that does like not make any sense. Here, my entire Facebook account's been deleted, seemingly no reason given, because I tweeted that genetically male boxers such as Imane Khalif, XY Undisputed. No, it is disputed. What are you talking about, undisputed? No, Imane Khalif's a woman. She has a kid, okay? I don't know how it gets more woman than having a kid. Well, I guess I do know how it becomes more woman than that. I don't know how you could be so confused about her being like assigned female at birth than having a kid. How does it get more clear? It's not undisputed. Such as Imane Khalif, XY Undisputed, should not fight women in the Olympics. Of course, my opinion is open to civilized argument, but outright censorship? It's so disappointing, man. These people just like make up because they enjoy it. Imane Khalif can't be trans in Algeria. Can't change your birth certificate. Can't change your anything at all. You can't get a license to transition. You'll go to jail for that. That's real. And she should be suing the shit out of anybody who makes this claim because they're genuinely putting her life in danger in Algeria. You can't do that. But yeah, just, make it up, I guess. Whatever. Anyway, Richard Dawkins, it's so disappointing, man. It's so sad that he's fallen down this rabbit hole. He helped me a lot with, his books that he wrote, The God Delusion and The Selfish Gene and stuff. It was all very interesting, very well written, very persuasive. It's just sad to see him go down this rabbit hole. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So the point is that Greg Locke seems to think that Imane Khalif is fighting as a woman, but she's really a man. No. Quick interjection, this won't take long, I promise. I'd appreciate it if you watched to the end of the video, or at least a couple extra seconds, because YouTube bases its algorithm off of watch time. The more watch time a video has, the further the video will go. Also, take a look at my website, owenmorgan.com. I'm selling my book, Understanding Jehovah's Witnesses, 400 pages, and my second book, 100 Questions for Jehovah's Witnesses, which is about 80 pages. And you can find them both there on the website. Audio form, ebook form, whatever. It's about my experiences within the religion and the history of the religion generally. The 100 questions are intended to challenge your religious leader, so I'd appreciate it if you give it a read. Okay, back to the video.
You can put 15 Trumps in, you can put 15 Bidens in, you can put 35 Kamalas in, and it'll just be a debacle if God don't show up and show out and do something great for this nation. And some of y'all sitting around twiddling y'all's thumbs, and Israel's in a full-blown war, which is prophetic.
Oh my God, there is so much there that I don't even know where to start. When he says it's not going to matter unless we get God in, what he means is we need Donald Trump in. But he believes that Trump is going to, like, carry God in on his shoulders or some ridiculous shit like that. So he pretends that he's not endorsing anybody, but he is. And he has been, implicitly at least, this whole time. Oh yeah, and the Israel war that's prophetic, there's a prophecy or whatever among some Jews that they have to sacrifice a red heifer. All right, let me just start from zero here. Solomon built a temple like 1000 BCE or whatever. It was destroyed in 586 BCE. Rebuilt in 515 BCE, destroyed in 70 CE. So 35 years after Jesus died or whatever. So there were two temples on the same spot, the mount there, the Temple Mount. Since it was destroyed in 70 CE, Muslims moved into the area, and the Ottoman Empire, the Ottoman Caliphate, controlled the whole region, and they built a mosque on the Temple Mount. But Jews have this, like, some Jews have this, like, prophetic belief or whatever, that the Messiah will come once they build the third temple. Because there's something about the Messiah will come and sit at the temple or something, I don't even remember. So they need the temple to be there, and Christians need the temple to be there too, because Jesus is supposed to return, at the temple. Some Christians need that. That's why people like Greg Locke support Israel. It's not because they like Jews. They don't. It's because they like the idea of Jesus coming back. Simple as that. And they like the idea of Jesus eventually judging all of those Jews for being evil. 2/3 of them, I think. And casting them off into hell or whatever it is. Anyway, before they build the third temple, some Jews have a prophecy that says they have to slaughter a cow that's like unblemished or whatever, that has a red coat of fur. They're very rare, but they do exist. With the magic of the internet, we know where every red heifer is in the world at any given moment. 5 red heifers were shipped from Texas to Israel, illegally, by the way, not a few years back. They're about the right age now. So if Israel decides to slaughter a red heifer in front of the Temple Mount, that's a sign that is going to get real. It's a sign that Israel intends to tear down the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and that will be World War III if that happens. I know that's a hyperbolic saying, but I am 100% real. That will be a holy war to end all holy wars if they do that. So Greg Locke saying that this war they're in is prophetic and that he's about to talk about the heifers. This is scary. This is not good, what he's saying here. Just keep listening.
And we sitting around with a spirit of fence, mad about stupid stuff that God don't care one thing about.
Spirit of fence. You're sitting on the fence. You need to take a side. Vote for, the candidate that's going to support God the most. You know the one that I'm talking about? Wink, wink.
And I'm just getting geared up good this morning. I might run a few of you out. I'm sick of babysitting people that sit around with their thumb in their mouth.
Okay, I'm not even going to bother. Go on.
Don't carry a Bible, but need a dadgum pacifier because they need their diaper changed every other day because they're ticked off about something. I'm sick of it.
Normalize the word dadgum.
There's 8 doors in this church. You can leave anytime you want to. Not everybody in this church is going to make the leap to the next building, and not all of our staff is going to make the leap to the next building.
He's such a victim. Who the hell is he complaining about right now?
Think I'm playing. I'm done with foolishness in the house of God.
Who's he talking about? Who's acting foolish? He's so full of...
Israel's in a full-blown war. We're getting ready for the first practice run-up of the red heifer being sacrificed.
There you go, the red heifer.
Red heifer being sacrificed. They're waiting for the Messiah to come back, and we sitting around mad about stupid stuff because people talking about us on Facebook. If they're not talking about you on Facebook, you ought to shut it down because you ain't doing it right no how.
God, he's so ridiculous. He's such a ridiculous human being. But that bit about the red heifer and stuff, that's straight up disturbing, man. There's a silver lining behind every mushroom cloud for people like Greg Locke.
I'd say, God, why did you choose Judas? Because you knew what kind of devil he was already.
Yeah, good point. Why did God choose Judas Iscariot to be the treasurer of all things? You know, is a group of Christian kind of offshoots from the early days, like, you know, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd century, called Gnostics. And the Gnostics believed that Judas Iscariot sacrificed himself to make God's plan move forward, knowing how he would be viewed in history, but knowing that somebody had to do it. And he was like the most favored, apostle or disciple or whatever. He's the most favored one because he chose to do that for Jesus. I think that makes a hell of a lot more sense than whatever the hell these people have going on right now. Why would God choose Judas Iscariot if he didn't trust him? Like, what? Oh, and he believes that Jesus is God, too. Believes in the Trinity. Gnostics didn't really have any of those ideas. I mean, there were a billion groups, so maybe one of them did. I don't know. But that wasn't, like, prevalent at the time at all.
He hired the man to be the treasurer for 3.5 years. 3 at least. Count the money. And I'm like, Lord, I know you didn't make a mistake. But why you done gone and give this man the money? And by the way, it wasn't no little bitty amount. Can I remind you that there was like 4 or 5 women out of whom Jesus cast demons. Deliverance ministry paved the way for the ministry of Jesus. You know that? These women out of whom was cast devils, the Bible says they gave him all of their resources. And one of them, husband, worked for Herod.
Boy, you know what that sounds like? Sounds like communism to me. Sharing resources, you say?
So this cat had some money.
I don't even know if this is true. This sounds completely made up. I have no idea. I guess there is something in there about Jesus getting, like, money from people, but as far as I could tell, Jesus was just wandering around, like, preaching from town to town and telling people to give up all of their riches for God. Was he trying to, like, squeeze money out of people? I can't tell, like, what was intended in the Bible and what Greg Locke thinks happened exactly.
And I'm like, Lord, why did you choose Judas to be the treasurer? You know what the Lord said to my spirit?
Tell me, Greg.
You can know somebody by 2 things. You can give them money and authority and find out who they are.
Okay, but you don't have to give them money or authority to know who they are. You telling me that God he didn't know who Judas was? He wasn't sure if he was a good person? Because God's not omnipotent or omniscient or whatever the hell? You trying to tell me that God didn't know and he needed to test Judas? Really? Okay, go on.
Or you cannot give them money and authority and find out who they are.
I don't have any idea what that means.
But in both cases, you're going to find out exactly who they are. And Jesus said, I'm just going to let him handle the money because in just a short time, the money will reveal who he really is.
But he didn't need to. He already knew, didn't he?
And in some cases, the lack of the money, because what really revealed him is when that alabaster box was broken. And he's like, we should have taken this and given it to the poor. Not that he cared about the poor. You see, Judas was the first Democrat in the Bible. He used...
Oh my God, dude. The first Democrat in the Bible. Are you serious with this? This guy cannot give up on politics as hard as he tries. He can't help himself but to, like, insult Democrats constantly. So at the beginning, you remember he's talking about he doesn't care if Trump gets in or Biden or Harris or whoever. He doesn't care. But here we sit listening to him oppose a political party. That's actually a violation of the Johnson Amendment, to my knowledge. It's just not being enforced, unfortunately. So he's going to continue to operate as tax exempt. By the way, a while back, he claimed that he wasn't tax exempt. I checked later, and as far as I can tell, his company that he set up in '06 is still filed as a tax-exempt entity, and it's not dissolved. It's current today. So I don't even think he gave up tax exemption or whatever. I think it was just like a lie so that he could just say whatever he wants with impunity.
Use poor people as an excuse to launder money.
Right. Democrats launder money by using poor people. Totally. Absolutely. I launder money all the time using poor people.
And that's all I'll say about that politically, praise God. But I did quote the Bible, so we're all good.
Like, he thinks that quoting the Bible means, what does that mean in his head? Does that mean that he's legally allowed to talk about politics if he quotes a Bible? No, that has nothing to do with it. You can't endorse or oppose any political party or candidate. Jesus Christ, dude. I would hate to be this guy's lawyer. He's got a mess on his hands. God, Greg Locke is such an odd person.
Why do y'all always just gotta say something about something? Why not stop standing? Because if we...
Well, stop being a scumbag is what I'm asking. I'm not asking you to stop standing. What?
Standing. Because if we do not stand up now, our children will have nothing to stand up for later, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not fighting for you. I'm fighting for your kids and for your grandkids.
No, thank you, good sir. I'm asking you not to do that. Thank you.
And kids, we don't want revival for this generation. We want revival for the next generation. And if you don't stand up and get loud and bold now, your kids will be silenced in prison.
In prison. Your kids will be going to prison for talking about whatever other things that he said earlier. Abortion. You're going to go to prison for talking about abortion. Are you serious? Hyperbole doesn't begin to describe what he is or what he's doing here.
If you can't see that we are losing freedoms at an alarming rate, you're...
Whoa, wait a minute now. You're telling me that you are afraid of losing freedoms? He literally just spent the past, minute describing freedoms that he wants to take from others. And now he's complaining about... What freedoms are you losing, Greg? Specifically. Name them. Lay them down for me. What things are which things are being taken? In fact, which freedoms has Greg lost in the past 25 years? Which ones?
Not paying attention. And this is not a who's going to get in the White House. I'll be honest with you, I could care less at this point.
Totally. Yeah, I can tell.
If we don't get Jesus back in the God's...
Jesus, I'm a fan.
In the God's house, we're in a mess.
Later on in this, you can see his little watch here. This is an interesting little story. I don't want to go down a whole rabbit hole here, but he's had this tent, this circus tent that he's operated out of for since 2006 or something. And because he can't, he hasn't been able to afford a full building. And in the past 3 years or something, his tent has been destroyed by natural disasters twice. First was a tornado in Tennessee, ran through town and knocked his tent over. And he buys a new one, sets it up, and then snow comes down and piles on top of his canvas and caves it in. If I didn't know better, I'd say God's trying to give you a message here, Greg. Anyway, for the previous tent that he bought, it was a semi-permanent structure, the one that got destroyed, and he fundraised $400,000 from his audience or something to buy it. And it was destroyed within 6 months. Oh my God, dude. That's terrible. $400,000 destroyed in 6 months. So he's decided he's building a full-blown building now. He's going to set up a church, and he's trying to fundraise again. So this whole sermon, I watched it on my Owen Morgan Unfiltered channel. The whole thing was based around him saying you should give up things that you don't need, basically. And he went so far as to take his watch off and give it to an audience member because he wants them to donate money to him. Okay. I'll just buy a new watch. Why not? With the money you're going to donate. Make a point here. Just insane, man. Tell me what you think in the comments.